Welcome back to the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Today's episode, we have some disrespect we have to get off our chest that we just it's not right. It's not right. And there are some updates that's been going on, some signings, some more contract disputes, some new jerseys that we got looking at. So there's some updates we want to talk about, but I think we should start with Lance getting something off his chest because there's been a certain rankings ESPN's been doing, and sometimes they're okay, but sometimes it's just what are we doing? So I want to give you the floor and let you vent a little bit.
Andrew, I thought you were going to go first. I think I was my team was disrespected in the process, but I'm not sure if it was to the level that the Vikings were disrespected, but I'm happy to go
They
first.
were, yes. I might take more time, so I will let you go first.
Um, well, Andrew, it's good to see you again. It's been a long
You
time
as
since we've
well.
been able
Yeah.
to do this. Listen, fatherhood's real. For anyone that doesn't think that it doesn't affect your time, it certainly does. And
Mm-hmm.
there's even a couple nights ago that we were going to do a podcast, and life hit
Yep.
it. It just came in and took over the
Happens.
evening, and we had to pivot and make new plans. So, on that note, ESPN, they're filling a void. It's a boring time of the year for NFL stuff.
Yep.
So, there's only so many things you can do. So, why not take a random poll with GMs and other front office people to see what they think about each position in the NFL? So, it's been something that's done by Jeremy Fowler, which is, I don't know where you are in Jeremy Fowler. I kind of feel like Jeremy Fowler is kind of like that. He's there. I don't dislike
Mm-hmm.
him, but I don't love him as a
Mm-hmm.
reporter. And that's nothing against him. I just don't think he's as, I don't know how much he sometimes brings to the table. Sometimes I feel like it's like, oh, it's a pretty interesting article. Sometimes I'm like, I think he's kind of
Meh.
revealing something we knew.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you didn't know that, you weren't paying attention. So
Yeah.
with that put aside, he did a rankings of NFL quarterbacks. And some people should say that I should be grateful. If you're in the Chris Sims club, then you would say, let's just be grateful. But Jalen Hurts being the ninth best quarterback in the NFL on this list is just, I don't even have the words,
Yeah.
Andrew. Don't even have the words. Um, I just, I really don't understand it because
Mm-hmm.
if you go through and you look at each of the people that they have on the list, Patrick Mahomes is number one. Sure. I'm not going to
Yep.
argue that one. Like that is a fair ranking. That's absolutely fine. And you got Josh Allen. That's fine. I understand that. That one makes sense. And then you've
Mm-hmm.
got Joe Burrow. Makes sense. He
Yep.
literally carried his team on his back. Well,
As much as he
see,
could.
here's the thing that I want to get into. These rankings come out. Analysts are reacting to it, sharing their opinions. Why are people falling where they are on the list? And when we get to Jalen Hurts, the argument is he's just not doing enough. The team is carrying him. If you didn't have the team, he wouldn't be the successful quarterback. And it's like it's weird to me because this is exactly almost to the letter what they said back in 2022 when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl the first time. The
Mm-hmm.
first time. Can I just say the first time? The first time. They've
Mm-hmm.
literally been twice. And it's like you're telling me that two separate times in the NFL, like where a team gets to the Super Bowl, where it's the same quarterback, you're using the same argument.
Mm-hmm.
And it's baffling to me. Um, I understand that they're trying to say he had Saquon Barkley, and that's totally fair. That's fair. He has Saquon Barkley. So if you want to put him right lower on the list, let's say I was going to say five. That was going to be my number where I feel like that is a realistic, shouldn't have to argue with it. But then the
I
part
think
that
that was
just
mine as well.
really gets to my craw Jaden Daniels at number five.
I don't,
Are
yeah.
you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Like, didn't we just do this with CJ Stroud a few years ago? And now we're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, maybe he wasn't as quite good as we thought he was.
Yep.
You just, here's the thing. Did Jaden Daniels do what Saquon Barkley did for the quarterbacks last year? Like, is that what you're arguing? It was he had number two, number three performer last year? Because I mean, I think that's what you'd say with Saquon Barkley. He was one of the top three running backs. He got the Offensive Player
Yep.
of the Year award. I think that reflects it. He
Mm-hmm.
got over 2,000 yards. He's the only running back last year to get over 2,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we saying that his performance was on that level?
Yeah, he had a really good rookie season, but I don't know if I would put it there because there were some games where, because I had him on fantasy teams, where he didn't really put up a lot of like touchdowns. When they got to the red zone, it was a lot of rushing touchdowns by the running backs. And I don't think his yardage was like it was good, but I don't think it was like top of the line good. I think he got just a little bit overhyped. He had one of the all-time best rookie seasons as a quarterback, yes, but does that make him the fifth best quarterback? It's too early to say, and I don't think his numbers were. I even think that probably Hurts' numbers were better than Daniels, other than maybe rushing. That was the only thing that Daniels probably had on Hurts.
Yeah, I just wanted to compare all their stats because, like, if we're talking about touchdowns
Hmm.
last year and passing yards, then yes, Jaden Daniels gets the nod. He got 3,500, we'll say 3,600
Okay.
passing yards. He had 25 touchdowns, nine interceptions. Jalen Hurts had 2,900, 18 touchdowns, five interceptions. The difference
Okay.
where Jalen Hurts was better was the QB rating was a 103.7 and it was a 100.1 for Jaden Daniels. So yardage wise, he did have a better year.
Okay.
That is without rushing touchdowns. That is without rushing yards. So we can't see those as far as like in the stat I'm looking at right here.
I know that Jaden
Jalen Hurts.
Daniels had a really good yards rushing, but I'm not sure about touchdowns.
So Jalen Hurts had uh, about 10 more rushing touchdowns.
Okay.
I mean, that's a significant factor. Um, I mean, I know you're going to say it's the QB sneak thing, and that's fine, but Jaden Daniels can QB sneak it too, but isn't
Hmm.
because they're worried about injury risks. So
Hmm.
here's the thing: all I'm just saying is that there is a 5-year sample size of Jalen Hurts,
Exactly.
and what we should know at this point is that Jalen Hurts is a trustworthy, dependable leader. Um,
Hmm.
and this is the other part too that I wish that people didn't sleep on about Jalen Hurts. He brings his best when the lights are the brightest.
Yep.
Like that matters. I mean, if we just go back to the Carson Wentz era, I think people are really quick to forget about how things happen. I still remember this. It was I think it was 2018. Um, and the Eagles played the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. And I just wanted to look up the score to see what it was. But they played them on Monday or Sunday Night Football, and it was a game they needed to win. Like they
Hmm.
really needed to beat the Cowboys. And you know what happened? They did. They didn't beat the Cowboys. They lost 27-20 at Lincoln Financial Field. It put us into a losing record. And I will never forget it that Carson Wentz threw a game sealing interception. And I just
Hmm.
remembered thinking, uh, this guy isn't for real. Like he's not putting the Eagles in position to win. And I think actually,
Hmm.
excuse me, there was an interception. It's not showing any. Yeah, it was actually towards the beginning of the game that he threw this critical interception that led to a Cowboys field goal. And then there were two turnover on down possessions. And I'm just bringing that up for context of the lights were bright. Sunday Night Football. he needed to put his team on his back and deliver a win. And that is exactly what he did not do. And
Yep.
it put the Eagles in a position where they couldn't win the division because they go back down to Dallas, which is even harder, and they didn't win. But when you look at Jalen Hurts, the Washington game and the NFC Championship game last year,
Hmm.
how many people were questioning the talent level of Jalen Hurts and was he going to be able to do enough? I mean, he absolutely played lights out in that game. So it just feels strange to me that why can't Jalen Hurts get his flowers? Like that's what kills me, man. I don't
Yeah.
get it. And I know this is going to sound mean, Andrew. We've talked about it before, and I'm probably wrong, but this is what makes it hard for me to like Lamar Jackson because the dude constantly gets his flowers compared to Jalen Hurts.
Hmm.
But you know what? Who cares about NFL MVPs? Because at the end of the day, it's not like, let's put it this way, Cam Newton was an MVP, right? He became the MVP of the league at one point when his
Hmm.
team was good. But does it matter? I think if you ask Panther fans, they'd say no. We didn't finish the job. So
Yep. He did
therefore,
not jump on that fumble. He just backed up and let the was it the Broncos or the Seahawks?
the Broncos.
Broncos. Okay. He just let the Broncos. I think it might have been Von Miller. We got to talk about him later. But yeah, he saw the ball. He just stood there and let the pile up, and the Broncos got the ball. That was kind of a big turning point in that Super Bowl.
But even still, it just that game, you just felt like for me
Hmm.
that he wasn't ready. I don't feel like he
Yep.
was ready. I think if he was ready, I think it would have been a very different game. Um,
Hmm.
it just looked like, and like it's hard to quantify, but it just looked like the moment was too big. That
Yeah.
he couldn't put the pieces together to pull off a victory. The Broncos were more well prepared. Um, so it's just like, and then like if you look at the other quarterbacks, right? You compare it to Joe Burrow. Why does Joe Burrow get credit when he has Jamar Chase, T. Higgins? Um, I'm trying to think of the name of his tight end. It's spaced my mind. Mike
Oh
Gesicki.
goodness. Yeah. Yep. And he's kind of underrated tight end. He's got talent. I like Mike Gesicki.
He's also got Chase Brown. Like it's not like he's working with
Yep.
spare talent. Like offensive line wise, okay, that's a different discussion. But also your team made the
And
choices
defense.
to not have offensive line. Like
Hmm.
that's not a Jalen Hurts should not be punished for the wisdom of the Eagles versus the downfall of the Bengals.
Hmm.
If you have deficits, that's on your team. That's not on
Hmm.
other quarterbacks and but like the Bills, I give Josh Allen so much credit for how much he carried his team last year, and I don't think he gets
Absolutely.
enough credit how much he carried the team.
Yeah. He should have been the MVP last year, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
I,
I
yeah.
think that was the best choice.
Yeah.
But um, he hasn't done it. He hasn't figured out how to win the big ones.
Yep. He
He's
just
gotten
cannot
super
beat
close.
Mahomes. Mahomes is his obstacle. It's almost like MJ back in the day when there was a lot of teams that were good, but it just couldn't get past MJ.
Yeah. Okay. And then let me wrap this up, Andrew, because I know we've got
Yes,
other parts to cover. But
you're good.
the two parts that really, really get me mad. Like I'm annoyed about Jalen Daniels, but I'm like, fine, whatever. If you want to go with the 1 year flash in the can, fine. But Justin Herbert, just last year, had one of the
That one is
worst.
so dumb.
He had one
Yeah.
of the worst playoff support or the playoff appearances in playoff
Hmm.
history. I mean, how do you put that guy ahead of Jalen Hurts?
Hmm.
Zero playoff success, like zero playoff success, none, zero. Has not been able to figure it out. Lost to the Jaguars, lost to the Texans, and I think that's it.
Hmm.
Right? Is there a game I'm forgetting? I don't think that they
I don't,
because
from my
no,
mind, no,
because
I don't think so.
I think the other best moment they had, I think it was like, was it 2020 where they played the Raiders on Sunday Night Football to get into the playoffs and they lost to the Raiders in overtime.
Okay.
I
I
think
vaguely
it was
remember
2020, it
that.
may have been 2021, but the year that John Gruden was left and They had the whole interim situation, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable that Justin Herbert's getting credit, but has done
Mm-hmm.
has done nothing come playoff time. And then Jared Goff. I don't know what it is about the Texans right now, Andrew, but apparently both Justin Herbert and Jared Goff must think the Texans are the best defense in the NFL because they had the worst performances,
Mm-hmm.
both of them, against the Texans defense.
And the stinking Lions still won that game. I'm still mad about that because the Texans
But
just did their job. Minnesota gets the 1 seed. But anyway, I'm not salty.
okay, but this actually brings me to a question. If your team finds a way to win after your quarterback has a
Good
horrific
point.
game, doesn't that make it so that your quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
maybe your quarterback's not that important? But
It's a great
let's
point.
turn this on its head. Okay. No one brings this up, but the Eagles were playing the Washington Commanders. I think it was week 15, and were on track to beat them. Like they were up, I think, 14 points. Jalen
Mm-hmm.
Hurts takes a hit to the head, leaves the game, and guess what? We lose. We
Mm-hmm.
lost that game. And I still remember it. There was a throw that was going to go to Devontae Smith, and he had him. He threw it to him. Smith drops the ball. End of the drive. Commanders get it. It changes the course of the game.
I remember that because that really that Devontae Smith was just tore up because of that. I remember that.
But it's like I know it's one situation, but I felt so confident. If you put Jalen Hurts in there, we get that
Mm-hmm.
first down. Like
Yep.
he just reminds me of he's not the um he's not like the old Challenger or Mustang car of the NFL. Like he's not the most pretty car, but he's like a Ford Bronco, right? Like a dependable car. You can do a lot with him. And I just feel like people look at him and go, ugh, well, he's not like, the standard quarterback. Like he's not doing what everyone else is doing. And therefore I'm going to hate him. Like I just feel like
Yeah.
he gets all this flack. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so all this to say, I would have moved him up to 5 and then I'd have been fine. But it's like,
Yep.
what more does the guy have to do? What more does he have to do to finally get the flowers he deserves? Or like,
Yeah.
but another thing too is how is CJ Stroud not on the list, but Justin Herbert is? Just CJ Stroud has had more playoff success in two
Mm-hmm.
years than Justin Herbert's had his entire career. Or Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jordan Love, like, dude, the guy basically had the equivalent of 3 flat tires on a 4 tire car in the playoff game against the Eagles and still played decent.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I do not understand it, man. I do not understand these rankings. Um, Hats off to Baker Mayfield on finally getting the credit he deserves. He is a top
He's
10
actually
quarterback
too
in my mind.
low. I say he's too low on this list, but at least he made it. I mean, to your point, Herbert probably shouldn't be on this list. He could be in the honorable mentions because he's got a lot of talent, but he hasn't put it all together. Jared Goff being top 10, sure, but maybe not eight. I don't know. I have to look at it. But Baker Mayfield, he should be more like in the seven range, in my opinion.
I think I think flipping Baker and Justin would have been appropriate. Like as far as if you
Yeah.
wanted to keep Justin in, like
Mm-hmm.
the best Justin is a 10 to me. The best. Like that's the best you
Mm-hmm.
can give him.
He's
Um,
talented, but there's just something not there. There's always something out there. And just this little side rant, there's a lot of steam on how good the Chargers are going to be. I don't know if I fully see it because their defense is good, yes, but what did they add on offense? They added a good running back in the draft, but that's about it. Their receivers are the same. They have one good slot receiver and nothing else. I don't know. I don't know. Everyone just loves the Harbaughs. They give them so much credit, and the Chargers are everyone's favorite to win. There's even some people saying the Chargers are going to win that division. I'm thinking, I don't know if I see it yet. They need another weapon on offense. Anyway, just a little side rant.
I mean, there's a couple of moves that I think were good. The Tyler Conklin signing, we talked about that at one point.
Yeah, that was fine.
That was a it was a decent move. It's like I think that the Chargers have naturally somehow gotten more credit for the Conklin signing than the Broncos have gotten for the Engram signing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the difference in the level of talent between the two is pretty stark.
It is.
Engram, I'd say, is like a B plus A minus tight end, whereas Conklin is a C plus B minus tight end.
That's a perfect analogy right there. Yep.
Um, the other move I did like was the Mekhi Becton signing,
Guy Becton. Yeah.
which I
Mm-hmm.
think will help. The part that I think that people are underestimating here, this is no flack to Becton. It depends on what type of offense they run. If
Yeah.
they lean into the running game, it was a brilliant signing. If they think that they will somehow get Becton to become a pass pro, I don't
Mm-hmm.
see it. There were times last year that I was like, man, Becton really gave up that pass sack way too fast.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, that's nothing against him. I'm so happy he rebuilt his career. He deserves this chance. He's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely one of the best. You know, he's I think he's you could say he's one of the best 20 guards at this point based on his running skills alone. Maybe 30.
Yeah. Run blocking, I would say he's probably top 10, maybe even higher than that. Pass blocking, like you said, there's some development that needs to happen, but he came in the league as a tackle and now he's developing as a guard. So there's still development there. So
Yeah.
yeah, probably overall, yeah, top 30, top 20. I'm good with that.
So I mean, we'll see how it pans out, but I do hear you on the wide
Hmm.
receiver. I do think that like the one example I throw out where I think people are banking too hard is Mike Williams. Just because Mike
Yeah, and he's
Williams,
already hurt.
well, but it's like, man, it happens all the time. And I say it all the time, but I'm going to say it again. Just because someone was good doesn't mean they will be good.
Aaron
That's
Rodgers.
not how this works. Right. But I mean, it's true. I mean, how,
Hmm.
I'm telling you, man, I've read so many articles about how Aaron Rodgers is going to be, the like the wealth of change or the source of
Hmm.
change of motivation to make the Steelers reach a level they've never reached before. Yeah, it's called 9-8 and getting the last seed in the playoff.
And the funny thing is, that's what they always reach.
Dude, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But anyway, that's
Yeah.
my
Back to
piece.
the
Thanks
rankings.
for letting me to get
Yeah.
that off my chest, Andrew. I appreciate it.
Yes. Yes. And on my end, I'm pretty much right there with you. I'd probably put Jalen Hurts around the 5-6 range. The top four, I'm fine with in whatever order they put it in. Those are pretty much always the top four. You got Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Lamar. It's to me, it's hard to take them out of the top four. But after that, I don't see anyone being better than Jalen Hurts, who has outplayed the number one quarterback two times in the Super Bowl. No, not just once. Both Super Bowls, Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes. And you can go back and look at the stats. And yet you're going to have him nine on the top 10 list when there's a rookie who no one knew anything about coming into the league. And so he played really well. And that's why there's always a sophomore slump because look at CJ Stroud. People have time to look at tape. So Jaden Daniels there's a good chance that he has a sophomore slump and kind of takes a step back. And you have him five. Yeah, I don't get that. Matthew Stafford, cool. He's been in the league forever. He's awesome. Him at six, that's fine.
He's also won a
But
Super
weird.
Bowl.
Yeah, that too.
He's
Yep.
won one.
Hmm. And we talked about Herbert. That doesn't make sense. And then Jared Goff, he's a good quarterback, but he's never reached the elite status. And I think top five definitely is an elite status. So eight for Jared Goff, that's fair. That's fair. But over Jalen Hurts, no. No. Jared Goff
Can
has
I
reached a Super Bowl, but never won. Yeah, go ahead.
can I reach? I just remembered. There's one other part I want to mention. This is a stats thing that I think people might appreciate.
Hmm.
Um, Someone was sharing one key difference they're noticing between Jalen Hurts and other quarterbacks, and
Hmm.
he was bringing up it's the number of passes behind the line of scrimmage,
Okay.
like short dump off passes. And the part he brought up that I thought was interesting was he was looking at Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow compared to Jalen Hurts. And he noticed that those quarterbacks had double the amount of passes behind the line of scrimmage. So Jalen Hurts was about 50. They're about 100 passes behind the line of scrimmage. and
Okay.
that's where a big portion of their plays are coming from. And the part he was emphasizing, and this makes sense, especially for I'd say Allen and for Mahomes, the running game's not there in the same way. It's not as prolific.
Mm,
So you have to
mm-hmm.
be more creative in getting those extra yards. And so in his mind, that's why he's saying he thought that Jalen Hurts' passing numbers are lower, but you see the higher running number because he helps to propel that running offense.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not
Mm-hmm.
what Mahomes does. Allen a little bit, Burrow no. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just people work in different ways. Like that's fine.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be, we had Michael Vick in the NFL, right? It's time to admit that the quarterback position is different. Lamar Jackson
Yep.
is doing. So just
Yeah.
wanted to get that one tidbit in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we talked about Baker Mayfield. I think he's a little low. Um, he probably should be around the Jared Goff range, 7, 8. But the biggest issue with this, of course, is Hurts gone to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years and won one, outplayed the best quarterback twice, and yet he's on here as 9. That just that just messed up. He was a second round pick.
Well,
Everyone passed on him as it is, and yet he is probably the best leader and best mature quarterback in this league. And that's probably not hyperbole to say that.
I just look forward, Andrew, to and I took that personally memes that come out after Jalen Hurts comes out and just thrashes quarterbacks that he plays
hmm
this year. Because it'll happen.
hmm
This is bulletin board material. And thank you,
Yep.
Jeremy Fowler and the front office executives that just gave us free bulletin board material. We appreciate it.
Yep. Yep. Okay, now it's time for me to get something off my chest. And it's ESPN again. They have never been a fan of the Vikings. And I remember that last year, and this is the same guy I'm about to talk about, I'm pretty sure, Bill Barnwell. Last year, he had the Vikings as the worst team, getting the number 1 pick. And what happened? We win 14 games. We almost get the 1 seed in the whole NFC. And he said at the beginning of the year last year that we're going to end up with number 1 pick. Very, very, very accurate guy. And then this year, he has his off-season grades. Okay, and to defend these guys that do this, they have to do all 32 teams. So they don't have the capacity or the time to really, really dig in to why the moves were made and what the teams are truly thinking. So give a little pass there, but he gives the Vikings a C plus for our off-season grade this year. And I was thinking, oh, okay, why? What don't you like? And he starts with what he liked, which was he really liked that we stuck with JJ McCarthy. I'm like, okay, awesome. I'm happy that you agree with that because that's the right thing. Said no to Sam Darnold, we said no to Aaron Rodgers, and we kept JJ. And that 100% the right move. And he agreed with that. But pretty much the rest of the moves he didn't agree with. And I thought, why? Because if you look at last year, what were the 2 biggest glaring flaws the Vikings had? Trenches, their offensive line and their defensive line. And what does Minnesota do this year? They go and pick up 3 new offensive linemen and they go and pick up 2 new defensive linemen. And what the article said is it didn't it didn't even it didn't even mention the Ryan Kelly signing. It didn't even mention that at all. And him over our center from last year is like night and day pretty much as long as he's healthy. That's the thing. We have a lot of older veterans, so health is going to be a concern. But if everything is healthy, Ryan Kelly is so much better than Bradbury. But the article talks about the signing of Will Fries. We paid too much money for him, apparently, even though Trey Smith just signed a record deal. And now Will Fries looks like a bargain because for his first 6 games he played, he was like top 5 PFF, like offensive lineman grade. But then he broke his leg. So he's still recovering from that. But apparently we paid too much money for him. And then the article also mentioned that it did not like the Jonathan Allen signing, that it was a 3-year deal that we paid too much money for. But if you look at it, it's a 1-year deal because the guarantees aren't that high, and we can get out of it next year with just a little bit of penalty. But that wasn't mentioned. And if you look at the pressures that Jonathan Allen, like the pressures, not the sacks, but the pressures he put up in the I think 10 games he played last year, it was like double what we had on our entire defensive line, not including edge rushers, just by him alone. So if we're getting 1 year's worth of double the pressure in the interior, that's worth whatever we got to pay, and we could afford it, and we did that. I'm wondering if he was wanting us to go after the defensive lineman you guys lost, Williams, and that the Patriots signed for like $1 billion. Would have been okay with that? A guy that proved he could be in rotation, but can he prove that he can truly do it every single down and pay him like almost $30 million a year, as opposed to paying Jonathan Allen, who has proved he can do it before, paying him, I think it was like 18 million a year and only 1.3 years guaranteed. I don't know. I don't know where he's coming from because the Jonathan Allen sign was tremendous, and he didn't even mention anything about the comp pick stuff. Now, you know me, I don't like to depend on the comp pick formula because if your team does moves in order to get comp picks next year, I think that's bad. If you make moves to improve your team, but also try to play the game, okay, I'm good with that. And what does Minnesota do? They pick up Jonathan Allen and Hargrave, and they were cut, so they do not count against anything on the comp pick. That was not mentioned in the article either. So as of right now, nothing's guaranteed, of course, but we have a 3, 4, and a 7 coming our way next year. And if we would have picked up Williams from you guys, we would have lost our third. But we didn't do that. We went after Jonathan Allen, who has proven he can do it every down, as opposed to Williams, who proves he's really good in rotation. But can he do it every down? We'll see. We'll see. And the Patriots paid him a ton of money. And the other part of Allen and Hargrave is, which Bill Barlow probably doesn't really know because he doesn't dive in deeply into every team, is they are not going to be playing every down. They are going to be in a rotation, which is going to keep the injury risk a little bit lower. It's going to help our depth out so much because we have young guys that have good roles. Like they can get in there, they can stop the run, they can do a couple of good pass rush, but they're not every down players. And last year we had to play them every down basically, and they got exposed. So we had to blitz almost every single down. And Brian Flores is great at that. We had a lot of sacks, a lot of pressures, but when we came up against quarterbacks that knew what they were doing, that were savvy veterans that saw the field and like, yep, I know exactly how to expose this. I'm gonna get 3 seconds to throw, and then I'm gonna get people in my face, but I'll have someone right there. Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, both of them, for 4 games, just meticulous dink, 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 dunk down the field. And Brian Flores and the team couldn't really figure it out because without blitzing, we had no pass rush. But with blitzing, there were holes. What Allen and Hargrave does is they are going to get interior pressure where we don't have to blitz as much, where we can keep more people on the back end covering routes. None of that was mentioned either. And Hargrave and Allen are probably going to be playing, I would say like 65, 70% of snaps. They'll be out there on first down and then on absolute passing downs. But when it is running downs, they probably won't be out there. When it's like 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, it's probably going to be our other big boys who are really good at stopping the run, giving Hargrave and Allen a break. But all the article mentioned is how we paid them too much because they're older and how their efficiency dropped off last year. Well, yeah, it did because Allen, like, I forgot what his injury was, but he like tore a muscle in his arm. It tore his pec. That's what it was. He tore his pec. Of course, his numbers are gonna drop down after that. And we don't need him to be the Allen of 4 years ago. We just need him to be the Allen of last year, where he doubled the pressure rate our defensive line got. So, looking at it in total, we picked up defensive lineman that's going to double our pressure rate on the interior. We picked up offensive lineman that's going to absolutely just miles apart to be better than what we had last year. Because our right guard sucked. We get Will Fries that before he got hurt was playing as a top 10 right guard. And then we pick up Jackson in the draft, who is probably the second best lineman in the draft. But the article mentions that we should have taken offers to trade back, which, excuse me, there were no official offers on the table. There is speculation that the Texans offer went to the Vikings as well, or that the Falcons offer that went to the Giants went to the Vikings as well. Or I mean, excuse me, went to the Rams took. The Falcons offer for the Rams went to the Vikings as well, but there was no official thing that said that it happened. There wasn't. Speculation. And the article claims that those offers were there and Minnesota should have taken it. That's not true. I don't know anywhere where someone said that those offers were offered and Minnesota said no and drafted Jackson. Minnesota drafted Jackson and then the trades happened. So I'm sorry, but you don't need to put in an article facts that aren't facts. Is it a decent chance that happened? Could be. Minnesota could have had those offers, but there's nothing official. So you do not need to include that in your negative ratings of drafting Jackson whenever there could have been no offers to trade back. And we picked the best player that we knew we wanted, which makes our offensive line a top six unit now, maybe top five. It's a really, really good unit. And yet we get a C plus grade. And there's no talk about how awesome the Isaiah Rodgers pickup is going to be. And you know how awesome that pickup is going to be.
Yes. Yeah.
There is no talk about that. And I love it. He is being so overlooked by everybody. And as you know, everything that I'm hearing from camp is he is awesome. Brian Flores loves him. And it's going to be interesting because our coach is going to have to make a tough decision because our D coordinator loves him and our special teams coordinator loves him because he's a great return man too. And we don't need him getting hurt. And so he's, and we sign him for like chump change. And he's just, yeah, there's no talk about that in the article either. It's the article basically states the D linemen we signed were too expensive, dumb contracts that we should have traded for them. No, we not going to give up draft capital and we're gaining draft capital basically by signing them without trading for them because of the comp pick game. And it talks about how Will Fries is overrated and that we should have traded back. That's none of that is true, and he gave us a C plus. When in reality, it should have been at least a B. If he gave us a B, I would have just moved on. I would have disagreed with some of the stuff, but I would have just moved on. But he gave us a C plus, worst in the division. I'm sorry. What did the Packers do? They signed a guard to a really expensive contract too, but they got praised for that. And they drafted Matthew Golden. That's about it. That's pretty much about it. I'm sorry. How did they do better than the Vikings? Anyway, that's my rant on that article. He gave us a C plus, and it was just the reasoning was just ridiculous.
I do think, Andrew, it's worth mentioning who else got C pluses. The New England Patriots,
Hmm.
Cincinnati Bengals, which how are they having a C plus offseason?
Yeah, I don't know what they did. They signed
Because
a
because
player.
they
They drafted a
signed
player
two
that doesn't want to
players
play.
finally after waiting 3 years on both players to finally get the
Hmm.
contracts they deserved the whole time.
Yeah, that's the same offseason grade as the Vikings. So yeah, that makes total sense.
But like, here's the other part that I thought was interesting is I was like, okay, well, you know what? Let's be fair, right? Let's look at other parts of this. Um, the Browns got a B plus, which I guess with the trade down I could see, but like, is that factoring in the double QB draft? Like, that was a weird,
Yeah.
weird move. And
Hmm.
That is not the equivalent of Robert Griffin and Kirk Cousins. That's not what they just did. Shedeur
Hmm.
Sanders is way too relevant to be in that category. He's not going to be happy with
Hmm.
sitting on the bench. He's looking to start. So that's going to be a real awkward situation to work through. But fine, whatever. The Bills getting a B plus.
Right?
Uh,
I know they signed Bosa. Cool. He's fine, but not elite like his brother
if
is.
he's on the field, Andrew,
That too.
like,
Yeah.
eh, so
And what
okay,
else did they do?
they extended Khalil Shakir and Josh
Cool.
Allen. Like, I don't see that. What that doesn't. Here's the part that makes it the most zero sense to me. They signed Josh Palmer, um,
Woohoo.
and dude, Josh Palmer wasn't that good last year, and
He
he's
hasn't been
never
good since he
been
entered the
that
league.
good.
He's like
So
a
it's like
good wide receiver four.
I do like the Maxwell Hairston draft pick by the Bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a
Sure.
really high upside move, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The one that I really don't understand here, I do love his appreciation for Denver Broncos. He gave him an A minus, which I think is a
That's fair.
great,
Yeah.
great grade.
They had a killer offseason. I don't know if I've fully done my picks for that division, but man, it's gonna be hard for me not to pick the Broncos to win that division. The only thing that's gonna keep me from it would be Bo Nix because he's fine, fine to good, but as far as a passer, just a passer is concerned, I don't know if I see it yet. He can gain yards with his legs, which is awesome. He's really good in fantasy for that. But as far as reading a defense, getting the right reads, getting to the open receiver, I don't know if he's there yet. That'd be my only way I would keep them from winning that division.
When I look at Bo Nix, he reminds me a lot of Jalen Hurts early on. It's not the
Yeah.
same. I'm not saying he's the same. I'm just saying I see
Yeah.
out of all other QBs in the NFL, he's the one that reminds me of Jalen Hurts right now the most.
Hmm.
Like a very similar trajectory. Um, I do think that while I get that you're saying we got to give him credit for he put that team on a whole different playing field because of his competent level of play. Like Russell Wilson was
Yep. Yeah.
that bad. Giants, he was that bad,
Hmm.
and he wasn't that much better in Pittsburgh. Just want to put that out there.
Hmm.
Um, the part that I want to mention too is the 49ers got an A minus for real. And he put the Robert Saleh edition as a free agent signing. I don't think that's fair. You're talking about free agents. He's not a free agent.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
talking about we're not talking about coaches. Also, by the way, it's kind of dumb to value a coach signing like Saleh more than players because he could be gone like that.
Hmm.
Contracts don't matter for coordinators. If there's a head coaching job, he's gone. You can't
Yep.
say the same for your players that you picked up like that. I also think that the 49ers are not getting enough flack for the Bryce Huff trade. I, I know that it's a low cost move for them, but people are looking at that wrong. They are getting Bryce Huff thinking that Bryce Huff will be a starter.
Hmm.
That is a big gamble. That they did
Hmm.
not get him to just fill a gap. They got him to start. So we'll see. We'll see if he actually comes out to be the player that they think he can be. But
Hmm.
that is not a zero level risky path. Um, so I just thought it was good to get those comparisons out there. Oh, one other one. I only mention this because I think this is dumb. The Chiefs got a C. That is a horrible grade. Um,
Wow.
like the Chiefs are in a much different situation than the Bills right now. I mean, the Chiefs had so many free agents this offseason, and they just re-signed Trey Smith.
Yep. Yep. They did. And
Um,
without even re-signing him, they had him on a franchise tag, so he was
oh,
an
they gave him
off-season
a B
addition.
minus. I read that part wrong. Still though, I still
Okay.
feel like that's a little low. Like they signed Gardner Minshew. I really liked that. They kept Trey Smith. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I am trying
Mm-hmm.
to think of the linebacker's name. It's spacing my mind right
Nick
now.
Bolton.
Yeah, they got Nick Bolton back.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I really, really like what they did with what they had. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And the natural, they're getting Rasheed Rice back as long as he's not suspended for the whole year.
yeah,
And that's a honestly a really big addition to their team because they were missing wide receivers. They were missing playmakers. Marquise Brown, he can only do so much because he's just going to get hurt. I mean, not Rasheed Rice, but Xavier Worthy is a rookie. So it's hard to put everything on him, but it kind of was. And now it's his second year, so he's probably going to get better too. And Kelsey is too old to be that guy anymore. So they added by just natural progression with Xavier Worthy and Rasheed Rice come back from injury.
yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I did not like the Vikings ranking. That's
Hmm.
too low.
Yep.
Um, that was not a C plus offseason. I just think that they're getting flack because the fact no one believes in the vision, which is a great spot to
Yeah.
be in.
Yeah. Which, so this part is just hilarious. Like, I gotta say this. So last year, the over under was like 6.5 or something like that. And Minnesota got so much bad flack for trusting in Sam Darnold as their quarterback. This year, Minnesota's over and under is like 8.5, and we're getting so much flack for not bringing Sam Darnold back. It's just so ironic.
Oh, that was the other thing I was going to mention too, is um, he rightly points out that he was out on the Sam Darnold signing, but now he's back in because of the contract status, which we've talked about between
Yeah.
Geno Smith versus, for me, it doesn't matter. I'm all about what can my guy do for me. I'm not about saving money.
Hmm.
If you're in the saving money business, you're in the wrong league. That's
Yeah,
not
for
what
sure.
matters.
For
You,
sure.
you
And
better,
then you mentioned earlier about the whole Justin Herbert playoffs and what Jalen Hurts has done in crunch time when it matters most. And that's the anti Sam Darnold thing. He is great when there's no pressure. When there is pressure, as it was shown last year in two specific games, he folded like a cheap tent.
sure did. And nothing against Sam. I still think he should have been comeback player of the year, but
He should have, yeah. Yeah, which
that's not what we're
actually,
talking about.
JJ McCarthy actually qualifies for that now. Who knows?
Oh, oh, he's not going to qualify for offensive rookie of the year.
No, because he's not a rookie.
I'm just
Yeah.
joking about that.
He
I've
should.
that's only me being a slightly bitter Utah Jazz fan over the fact that Simmons won the
Oh.
offensive rookie
Hmm.
or the rookie of the year award over Donovan Mitchell, who was a true rookie,
Yep. Yep. I hear
had
you.
literally 2 years of experience on one, but
Hmm.
that's beside the point, Andrew. It doesn't matter. The NFL actually honors, the whole system of actual rookie versus not actual rookie. Um,
Hmm.
it's one of the things they actually do that makes sense.
One of the few things.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. But yeah, I don't
Hmm.
know. Anything else you want to cover on this article, Andrew? I feel like that you did a good job
I
of
think I'm good. I
breaking it
think I'm
down.
good. I got it off my chest. There is a podcast I listen to, and it's a Vikings podcast, and there is a like a writer that like sent a question in and was talking about this article, and it was funny. I got to give him credit. He said that the writer of the article was just a big goof, and I just love that he called him a big goof.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That is something else.
Hmm.
Um, well, should we get to the other quick bullet items real quick?
Sure. Yeah, I'll start off with the Jets and their re-signings because that honestly shocked me. It was the right
Hmm.
move. And I think Garrett Wilson, the amount they paid him probably was about fair-ish because I think he's like right over 30 million. So I don't think he's a top five receiver, but he's young and that's just where the money's going. And he's being paid like I think the fourth or fifth highest paid now in that range. So that's totally fair. I get that one. He's probably like he's a top 10 receiver. I don't think he's top five, but that's where the money's at. He's still young, and they resign their guys with 2 years left on their deal. That's the other thing. Way to go, Jets, on getting it done early. Talking to you, Bengals. They got it done early. And then with Sauce Gardner, I'm a little bit more torn on that. I know he's really good, but should he be paid as the highest paid corner in the league? I don't think so. But again, that's unfortunately the way that the market works. When you're next in line, you have a great chance to be the highest paid. So he's going to be the highest paid corner. He's going to be above Pat Surtain. He's going to be above Ramsey, above other superstars that probably should be higher. But he's still really, really good. They got it done early, again, 2 years early. They locked up two of their best players. So I give them credit for getting that done. Congratulations, Jets. You made really good moves there. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that was well done. One part I would throw out too, I was thinking about is trying to think how to say this. Some people, right, are touching on the point they pay too much. That if they should have been a more stubborn on not paying too much. But here's something where I think holds true that needs to be pointed out. If you're not a great team, you
Hmm.
will probably have to pay more. You will.
Hmm.
And I'm not talking about like a ton, right? But let's say, 2 million a year, 3 million a year. Players are not going to leave a little bit of money on the table if they don't know if you're going to be a successful playoff team.
Yeah.
And I think that's only fair. Right now, if you're part of the Jets organization, I know they switched out coaches. I know they got rid of the locker room cancer, but uh, I mean, it's true. It's true,
And
Andrew.
they
If
ate
people,
money to get rid of him too. That's a point not a lot of people think about. They ate like $40 million in dead cap over the next 2 years just to say bye to him. That says
and
something.
it was the right move. It was the
Yep.
right move. Anyone who says
The
it wasn't the
Jets
right
should have
move,
gotten A+ for that specific move. On this rankings, they should have gotten A+ for cutting Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, I don't think they should get an A+ for. I don't know. To me, an abusive girlfriend does not deserve like. That's no, no, no. I'm gonna stop myself. That's a horrible comparison. You could take that out. That's not what I meant to say. Someone does not deserve credit for making a good decision on an occasionally horrible decision making path. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because you make one right decision amid a sea of bad decisions does not mean that you
You
should
should get
be
props.
like,
Hmm.
anyway, please know that my statement was redacted before I started it because I realized how stupid it was going to sound, but I did stop myself. So that was not what I meant to say. It did not come out the right way. Um, but just touching back on this again, you're gonna have to pay more. You're gonna have to pay more if you're gonna want these people locked up
Hmm.
because they have no idea how good you're gonna be as a team. So I think that's why they had to overpay a little bit for like Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, a
It's a little bit of an overpay. It is.
little bit.
He's more of a Devontae Smith level receiver, not AJ Brown or Monroe St. Brown.
Hmm. Yeah, but and again, unfortunately, that's just the way money goes. Is when you're next in line, you're going to be making more. Like Jamar Chase, he's making like 5 million more than Justin Jefferson a year. They should be like right neck and neck with each other, but Jamar Chase was next in line, so the money was going higher. And now the Justin Jefferson contract looks like a deal, looks like a bargain. That's just the way it works. So I'm with you. It is an overpay, but that's just the lay of the land with the league right now. He got paid after all these guys, so naturally he's probably going to make more.
It's a better strategy than what the Cowboys have done.
Yep, and the Bengals.
That's not the path to win. It's not.
Nope. Get your guys
Um,
signed early. Just say, all right, we got to overpay them, but let's get them early before we have to have drama, before we have to pay them more because the money's going up. I mean, for a good example, this is a good transition. Terry McLaurin with the Commanders. I love Terry McLaurin. He's, as far as a player himself, he's one of my favorites. He's not like a top tier wide receiver, but he's really good. He's a good wide receiver one. He's not at that elite level. He's probably around the same talent as a Garrett Wilson, a good one, but not elite. But they're in a contract dispute. And what have we seen from the Bengals year after year? This is a distraction. They just need to get it done.
We're talking about
I,
the Commanders, right? You said
yeah,
Bengals.
yeah. Well, it's just like the
Oh,
Bengals
okay, got it.
with their
Okay.
wide receiver distractions in
Yep.
the offseason. And like
Hmm.
last year with the 49ers with Ayuk, it's it's a distraction going into training camp. Just get it done. You're gonna have to pay him a ton. You know this. He's next in line to get paid. He's getting a little older, but he's not old yet. Just get it done. Get rid of the distractions so you can have a good season. If this doesn't get done going into the beginning of the year, the Commanders are in trouble because this is going to cause them to have a couple losses that they shouldn't have lost because they're not going to be in good chemistry because McLaurin's not going to be practicing, and that's bad for a really young quarterback. So I don't know how much he's asking for. Maybe he's asking too much. I don't know, but they need to find a middle ground before training camp starts, which training camp starts next week for most teams.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what else to really add to that, Andrew. I think that you hit it on the head. They need to get it figured out,
Hmm.
especially with Debo Samuel now in the fold. They need to figure out what the pecking order is.
Yeah.
Who's going to do what in this offense?
Hmm.
Because things might change a little bit in terms of who's doing what to succeed. So
And you can't figure that out when someone's not on the field.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
Um,
it concerned me when I saw like it was a few weeks ago where it said that they're talking and he has not been signed. I was like, okay, a few weeks ago, that's fine, but it's still not signed. It's still they still haven't had the right talks, and I'm seeing Brandon Ayuk, I'm seeing Jamar Chase the year before. I'm just like, uh-oh, I don't this gives me bad vibes, and I really like McLaurin, and yeah, if he's not signed going into the season. I will predict the Commanders don't make the playoffs. I think
really.
it's that big of a deal. Yeah, because
Mm,
I'm not a huge Debo fan because he's older, he gets injured, and
hmm.
they can't count on him to be their one. If he's their two with McLaurin as their one, I'm good. They're good there. They're going to be a good team. But if McLaurin is contract dispute, missing some games, they're going to lose a few games they shouldn't. And I'm going to predict they miss the playoffs. That's how big of a deal that is.
Interesting. I mean, I get what you're saying, and it's a big deal. The Bengals definitely admitted last year that Jamar Chase not being in the
Hmm.
fold was a big problem. Um,
And that's a great comparison. Great comparison. Look what happened last year. They were like the Bengals were like 1-4 or something silly. Could very well happen to the Commanders if this is a distraction. Terry McLaurin misses some games or the chemistry's not right. So it just concerns me. It's just on my radar. It's like red alert for me right now.
well, and I think speaking of contract disputes, the Shamar Stewart situation is still unfolding
Mm.
in
And they
Cincinnati,
still
and
have the
there's
Trey
there,
Hendrickson thing that they
yeah,
haven't.
yeah.
Just yeah.
Well, front offices sometimes don't understand how contract disputes affect the locker room.
Hmm.
I don't think I think Jerry Jones is a perfect example of this. Um,
Hmm.
One thing I think that happens is owners, especially, they've already made their money, they have their success, they're financially secure. So the decisions they make are a lot less grounded in emotion and
Hmm.
dollars. That's not how it is for players, especially players
Hmm.
getting their first contract or maybe players that don't spend their money well. I mean, we've talked about, Adrian Peterson as an example of the struggles he's had and Lawrence Taylor. I mean, there's lots of different players we could go through that have had financial struggles.
Hmm.
Antonio Brown. Um, but we don't know Terry McLaurin's financial situation, but he feels like that
Yeah.
he needs to get paid. And you need to figure that out. The Bengals need to figure out this whole Stewart Hendrickson issue too, because if you're
Hmm.
losing both potential starting defensive ends, that's a big problem. Um,
Huge to a defense that's already not that good.
well, and it just goes to show every time you're making a move in an offseason, the question needs to be what does this make the team look like 2, 3, 4 years from now?
Hmm.
Because if you're not, then you won't be prepared. But the truth is most GMs, Andrew, really don't think like the Vikings or Eagles. They don't. And I think that it is time the Vikings are given that prop of we think ahead. We think down the
Hmm.
road. Here's a perfect example that didn't come up in our discussion. The Giants foolishly release Daniel Jones and eat a whole bunch of money, get no
Yep.
financial savings from it. And the Vikings come in and say, hey, Daniel, we could use a backup quarterback. We've only got a few weeks left. Do you want to come play for us? Absolutely. They sign him to a cheap deal. I mean, really, for quarterbacks, it was a cheap deal. Get to the end of
Hmm.
the offseason or the end of the season, and Daniel Jones doesn't stay in Minnesota. And you know what happens? They get the comp pick that the Giants did not get.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, it's just those are the types of moves that change the course of your team. Those little tiny moves.
Yep.
And I just don't think we're seeing that right now from the Bengals, and so they really got to be careful. But also the Commanders do too. Um, I do
Hmm.
think they're doing better. I give them credit. I think
Yeah.
overall they are trending up. They're getting better. They're building on
Hmm.
success. They look like a team that's serious about developing. So we'll see
Hmm.
how they resolve this dispute.
And they just signed Von Miller like last night or something like that too. So, I mean, it's fine. I didn't actually see the contract, so, but he's still usable, but I don't know how much he can really produce at his age. Can he get some pressures, get some sacks, possibly? And I think that their
Mhm.
pass rush room wasn't the best, so this does help. But I don't know how much it moves the needle, so to speak. But it was a good decision. Get another edge rusher in there, see what he can do. And Von Miller has proven that he still can get the job done to an extent. So that was fine.
One part I did notice is that there is no contract number out there, which is typically a good sign for the team.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Yeah, because
that
a lot of
that
times
just
with a high number, they like to bloat. Like,
throw
look
it
what
out
I
there
got.
right away. So my guess is we're looking at
Hmm.
probably a $4 million base, $7 million possibility contract, but maybe even less
Yeah.
than that since we haven't heard any numbers. I don't know. Um,
Hmm.
we'll see. But it's an interesting move, and I think that there's potential for it to lead to better things. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see how it bears out. Can't believe that we're about a week away from training camp.
I know. It's so exciting. On Sunday, quarterbacks report to the Vikings facility. So it's like, it's here. It's here.
Man, I'm so excited. I've been on the record about this, Andrew. July and August are some of the most boring months to me. Besides training camp, I enjoy that part, but like the preseason,
Hmm.
whatever. The hot
Right.
weather, I just bring September on. End of August,
Hmm.
I'll even take.
Hmm.
But that's when my favorite time begins, man. From the end of August till the December time frame. I just
Yep.
life is just so great during that. Love it.
We're back, baby. We're back.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, was there anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, that was it, man. This is great. It's good to sit down and talk about these critical issues.
Yes. 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 And then get some rankings done, get some good conversations, and very soon we'll be talking about recapping football games. It's lovely to think.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us in this episode. Please like, subscribe, share, all that really fun stuff so we can help grow this channel. And we just really appreciate you guys.
Thanks, everybody.